Oh yes, it is right over here. The all-new Citroen C3 Aircross. You know, this had me thinking this was actually a new Citroen C5 Aircross because it has grown up so much, everyone. In fact, this brings me down to a little story about the Citroen C3 Aircross model. Long time ago, there existed a Citroen C3 Picasso. Now, this little car was quite popular, but then at the same time, it vanished very quickly from the roads. But then it was succeeded by the Citroen C3 Aircross, the first generation. It was basically a Citroen C3, but bigger in every dimensions. Otherwise, the design was very similar, no drastic difference. But now they have evolved big time. The new generation Citroen C3 was something a bit questionable for me because it just didn't really have the Citroen C3 vibe, you know what I'm saying? It had me thinking it was a Jeep Avenger or a Jeep Renegade of some sort. But now, looking at this Aircross, C3 Aircross, wow, they're going places, but we have to have a look from all angles because I have very mixed feelings about Stellantis crossover SUVs lately, but at the same time, there's some of them that actually do look good. This particular body paint is called Montana Green. Now I have to wonder what was the deal of having it with the white roof, because at first glance this had me thinking of Land Rover. I don't know why, but whenever I see those two-tone paints, especially with green like this. Anyways, otherwise on the positive side, honestly, this looks awesome. It has grown up so much and it looks far more desirable than the previous generation C3. The previous generation C3 would remind you you're driving something budget, whereas this beast over here costs 21,000 euros, and it does look more expensive than what its price tag suggests. But let's not celebrate too early, because there are some things you do need to know. You don't get any parking sensor at the front, and neither do you get a 360-degree parking camera. The air vents are right over here, and you just get this as decoration, and I have no idea what's the deal with this, but this suspiciously has me thinking of Fiat. Fiat, are you guys actually doing something again? And there's no air vent down there. When it comes to the side view, it really does have strong resemblance to the Citroen C5 Aircross, which had me thinking, like, they look so alike. And also one thing to note is that the door has this cube shape to it. It's like, from this angle, it has a rather square or cube shape to it, which does mean that there is ease of entrance for rear seat passengers, and legroom is great. In fact, let me demonstrate right now. Oh, this is great. And the seating is like a sofa. This is excellent. I'm impressed with this so far. Now, what is this? Come on, well, this is not needed. You don't need to have this on a car. I saw the same thing on the Citroen C3, and this was something I was not entirely impressed with. But then, to be fair, 21,000 euros, right? Comfortable seats, but there's literally nothing else. There's no air conditioning or anything. There's just one lonely cup holder and two charging ports down there. Backseat pockets, but there's no armrest over here. And another pocket up there. Okay, so when it comes to practicality, there are some advantages, and you even get a nice door bin over here. That's good, stylish, but at the same time, quite budget. Now towards the rear, it's got the Citroen vibe with this rear light, the Citroen identity, I guess, sort of to say. Reminds me of Citroen models from the 2010s. But then for the rest, it's difficult to really say what this car could be a reference to. It just looks a bit generic. In fact, from certain angles, these rear lights had me thinking of the Ford Explorer. I don't know if it's just me, but there's something a bit American about this rear design. And then especially when you have this prominent C-pillar. Before we have a look at the interior, let's just talk about the seats. The seats look amazing. I don't know what is it with Stellantis, but when it comes to seats, they love doing their art. Like for this Citroen, given its budget price, you have those fabric seats with the brown fabric over here and the black fabric right in the middle. It's just so artistic. Now it's time to have a look at the interior of the Citroen C3 Aircross. Now, first thing I've just noticed is that you don't get an instrument cluster directly right here. Instead, it's tiny and it's further away right over there. Now, the idea of a non-conventional instrument cluster is not entirely new for the Citroen brand. They have a reputation for playing around with instrument clusters. In fact, they never stuck to one single theme. They've always been revolutionary about how they approached certain aspects. So honestly, it is cool, but then at the same time, I have to wonder, is it really advantageous? So, like most PSA group cars and Stellantis vehicles, everything has been moved to the screen, but you do get shortcut buttons to your climate control. Infotainment system is... oh, it's a tick, 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 tick. Oh, wow, okay. So when it comes to the infotainment system, thank goodness they have not integrated the climate control right there. The climate control is separate down there. Thank goodness for that, because it was getting really annoying how I have to use the screen for everything. Thank goodness they went down a different route on this. Otherwise, the steering wheel is something that bugs me, and I'm not gonna lie, it's the same case with Peugeot. I'm not a fan of those steering wheels. I'm just not. I prefer to have a conventional steering wheel which is big and appropriate for this segment, but it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. Now, when it comes to practicality solutions, you do get two cup holders right over here and a little storage space right there. Glove box, which is easy to reach from the driver's seat. Everything is easy to reach in this interior. In fact, it's almost like a C3. It feels very small, and it's good. It's very good. The door bin is nice. I like how it's got the white tone to it, so it's easy to see what you've put in there. And there's no central console storage, but frankly, it's okay, actually. I'm not gonna complain. When it comes to the artistic aspect of things, I have to say 10 out of 10. But when it comes to practicality or certain aspects like, well, the way the interior is laid out, first of all, that's where it does raise a bit of a question. Like at first, I did not even notice there was a charger there the whole time. And this area has me thinking it could be used for additional storage, but it's just there, which has no purpose. Over here, you get air vents, okay? But sitting on the driver's seat, I don't notice those air vents. So imagine I'm just a careless driver who just puts business cards or uses this whole place as storage. Something is going to block those air vents. And one day, well, it might be too late. Some people might not even realize it. Instead, why didn't they put the air vents right there? They kept the air vents right here. Right, now it's time to check out the boot space of the Citroen C3 Aircross. I'm excited because of the cube-shaped design, first of all. So let's see. Box-shaped design, really. You don't get electric doors, but you do get this door, which is easy to pull down, so that's not the issue. But the thing to note is that the boot floor is adjustable, so that's already a practicality bonus. Let's just put it upwards. Okay, you know what? For now, let's just leave it like this. But otherwise, the storage space is quite deep. It's great, and it is amazing. It's one of the best in its segment. Be careful about the body paint on the side. It's exposed, but otherwise, towards the middle, it's not exposed. It's good. And the boot lip over here is plastic and durable. It is great. As for the rest of the boot space, it's just present, really. There's no smart feature. You get additional practicalities. You get additional space on the side, but you don't get anything like 12-volt sockets or anything else. You do get hooks there. So, here's my conclusion of the Citroen C3 Aircross. Massive improvements to the previous generation Citroen C3 Aircross. This is far more desirable, and for a price of 21,000 euros, this is one of the best value for money small crossover SUV you can find. Now, in terms of desirability, it's going to be of selective taste, just like historic Citroen models. Citroen cars were often love or hate cars. So you either like their cars, you become a fan of them, or you're just not going to really be inspired by them. But then at the same time, whatever, it's an A to B machine, right? But that's not the point. The point is, they are going places with Stellantis. The previous generation would shamefully remind you that you just bought something budget. But this, it is true, it is something budget, but at the same time, it doesn't really feel like budget. From the exterior, it feels like something worth 40,000 euros. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I saw some competitors worth 60,000 euros and they offer far less in the interior. Very budget. Primary competitors of the Citroen C3 Aircross are the likes of the Volkswagen T-Cross, the Toyota Yaris Cross, the Renault Captur, or the Renault Sybioz, if you are talking about something more spacious. Now, the thing about those competitors I've just mentioned, the Citroen C3 Aircross already has one prominent advantage, and that will be its size and space compared to something like the Toyota Yaris Cross. I had the pleasure of seeing a Yaris Cross, and I even reviewed it. It's a great, reliable little crossover SUV, but the thing is, it is little. It's small. It's basically a Toyota Yaris with bigger wheels. That's all it is. Whereas this is a big contrast to the Citroen C3. They've increased in size and yet their price tag remains tiny. But then it is true Toyota does have the reliability compared to Volkswagen T-Cross and the Renault Captur or the Renault Sybioz. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.